the history of the DanBaki family, the primary reason why we are here. The history of the DanBaki family in the Gold Coast, Accra, began around the 18th century, namely around the 1790s, with the arrival of Maman Timbuktu, who settled in the Gamashi area. As an enterprising young man who became very influential, Maman Timbuktu had to leave his birthplace near Mopti, Serafaram, in Mali, which was under the rule of his father, who then saw him off, as was the practice back then, with a huge stock of cattle. Mama proceeded on a journey to Timbuktu, where he became so successful, to the extent that henceforth he was only referred to as Maman Timbuktu. Together with other merchants, he would ply the Trans-Sahara trade route, which had covered Mali, Algeria, and all the way up to Morocco. At a point in time, Maman joined a caravan bound for the coast with his herd of cattle and other merchants and settled, and it is estimated that he may have arrived in the Gold Coast territory around 1790 or a bit later. We are still researching that history, so please bear with us. And settled at different parts of Gamashi, namely Mangmona, Atukpai, for those who are familiar with the suburbs, the wonderful suburbs of Gamashi. And finally, in Kaolin, where we stand today, I would like to emphasize on that. He finally settled in Kaolin. And we are estimating this to be, previously I heard my elder brother, the president of the Council of Fulani Chiefs, mention 100 years. It goes even beyond 100 years. I know he knows that, but I know he just mentioned it to remind all of us. But Kaolin exists for roughly about 200 years. Kaolin, a community which he founded with a few notable personalities. I would like to mention names because we have a lot of noble personalities and families in Kaolin. I'll start with our brothers. Once again, I would like to crave your indulgence and beg me. I have to refer to somebody first. It doesn't mean that any one of us is superior to the other. We have the Bremer family, with whom DanBaki shares Kaolin. We have the Kadiri English family. We have the Officer Ali family. We have the Damborno family. We have the Shadow family. We have the Jimala family. We have a lot of noble families in Kaolin. We have the Gimba family, popularly referred to as Zakala, and I would like to reach out to them and thank them on this platform for the unexpected support and logistics which they offered us to make this possible. My brothers sisters from the Gimba family, thank you very much. Kaolin is a community which was founded by all these people that I mentioned. And Kaolin was actually corrupted from the Fulbe or Fulani or Fulfulde word Kole, which means simply ranch. You can Google it, it's not a story. It was corrupted to cow lane because it was much easier for the Europeans to mention. And previously, before it was handed over, it was simply Milichagono. It was Achamuli. You know, so there is a history to this place. Maman Timbuktu married a Grushi woman from a noble family and had several children, most of whom unfortunately died before him. In 1870, Maman died and was survived by 2 sons and 2 daughters, namely Mami Awo, who is ably represented here by my elder brother, Serki Bala, the Gomba chief of Tudu. Once again, we create. My elder brother, I'll ask you once again, Serki Bala, the Gomba chief of Tudu, representing Mami Awo. Then we have us standing here from Ibrahim DanBaki. Then there was another man, Abu Baba Yalori, who passed away at a young age. And finally, the youngest, Ajia Hassana, who married Alhaji Mamman Chedo of Zongo Lane and is the matriarch of the Bajiga family. And if you look to my left, Chief Abdul Momin Bajiga, the chief of Adabraka, is ably represented. That's why you see this is not a day for him to sit. This is a day for him to, together with the DanBaki family and the Mamiao family, for us to celebrate. So that is one connection. Ibrahim DanBaki and his siblings were born in Gamashi. Once again, I would like to underline that just because of what the president of the Council of Zongo see, and we are very proud of that history. Ibrahim DanBaki and his siblings were born in Gamashi, Accra proper, in the then Gold Coast. He inherited his father's traits and grew up to become a very prominent personality within the Fulani, the Kaole, Muslim communities, and the Gang community at large. He also commanded a lot of respect from the local authorities, colonial governor at the time, and had a very close relationship with His Royal Majesty King Takita Wia I. Now, I have to point out once again that this was preceded by the close relationship between Mamman Timbuktu and King Taki Kome I. And so this has become a tradition. And so once again, I would like to turn around and say Abiasuma Ni Ochi. This is a tradition that has been reignited over the past 200 years. This is a strong bond. And once again, we are very grateful that His Royal Majesty has given us the opportunity to tie the knots even closer and to strengthen the bonds even much more. And I hope the press people here, you spread this around, because sometimes when you are faced with a lot of negativity, you don't keep repeating the negativity, but you point out the positives. Fulanis have been here for around 200 years. So that is a matter of fact. He also commanded a lot of respect from the local authorities. Governor, I've read that, but I'm going to read it again. Colonial governor at the time, and had a close relationship with His Royal Majesty King Takita Wia I. And as it was before him, carried on with the tradition of, I don't know the right word to say, making cattle available to the royal palace for traditional rites and festivities. In 1915, Ibrahim DanBaki was crowned Fulani headman of Accra, Southeast Sector authorities. And I'm not good at writing statements. I'm better when I read it out of my head. But my family insisted I write it down. He passed away in 1974. No, that's not it. I'm not good at in some instances, their salaries were paid through him. He was so influential in the establishment of communities such as Tudu, Adabraka, Town Council Line. All of this had Fulani participation in the establishment. Shukura, Ruga, Nima. It has been reported that the Fulani people who moved to places like Ruga and others had sought permission, as was the practice before, because they sought permission from their chief and he sought permission from Niga back in the days, as was the practice from DanBaki before moving. From Ruga, which was a ranch, they subsequently moved further to establish the Nima Mamobi community. In summary, Ibrahim DanBaki was amongst the pioneers who championed the expansion of Accra proper, Gamashi, to a wider area of what is known today as Accra and Greater Accra. From the Kaole Zongo Lane area through Old Fadama, Freetown, Adabraka, all the way to Ashama. He owned ranches at Foyo, somewhere around the farm mill complex at the Audome area, Shukura, Ruga, and Mamobi, roughly where the Mamobi Polyclinic is currently situated. Ibrahim DanBaki died in September of 1965 and was survived by one of his 4 wives, Mawa, and 18 of his children. Muniratu and Muru had died before their father, which included 6 men and 18 women. These children are Alhaji Muhammadu Mudasiru Abro, Alhaji Sedu, Alhaji Abbas, Alhaji Zubairu, Alhaji Muhammad Babaila, Alhaji Musa, Hajia Khadija Mekifi, Hajia Amina, Hajia Barkisu, Hajia Saratu, Hajia Alima, Hajia Ramatu, Hajia Salamatu, Hajia Hashia, Hajia Zara, Hajia Sauda, Hajia Fati, Hajia Zalia. It was reported that Ibrahim DanBaki had left behind directives, which we still practice today, that 3 days after his death, the funeral rites must end. This has since become a tradition of the DanBaki family. So with that, we come to the present day. Alhaji Massoudi Abass DanBaki, the most significant of his traits are his loyalty, his patience, and his dedication to family. He's the son of Alhaji Abass DanBaki and Hajia Sana Shado, and it's a personification of loyalty. He has been married to Sarauniya Hajia Zubaida Sule since 1965. Alhaji Massoudi has been working with the Captain Group of Companies since 1966, and although retired, he has been retained by the Captain Group. He steadily goes to work and returns back home daily, and we often advise him, but then he tells us, I need that. And indeed, he needs that. He has to be. He has been working for over 50 years, and so you cannot sit home. And then, so he insists on getting up in the morning and going there. With that said, this is a surprise. We planned it for Serki. I would like to hand over to the General Secretary of the Council of Zongo Chiefs to talk about Serki a little bit before we come to an end.
You've said everything already. There's no need for me to repeat what you said. What is there is, we want to start the program and then, look at the weather. The weather is not good for us. We are starting, you've said enough is enough. It's okay. The Fulani here are here controlling every one of us. We thank God.
HAFIZ TV, unique every day.